Up first, did you know your 4-year-old might be trans? Yeah, let's take a listen.
When a kid tells you that they're transgender, believe them. A lot of people will say that it's impossible for a 4-year-old to know if they're trans or not, but actually that's not true. They can know, and here's why. From day one, gender is baked into everything we do. You either have a boy name or a girl name. Boy toys or girl toys, boy clothes or girl clothes. So from an early age, kids understand the difference between boy and girl, and more importantly, which one they're expected to be. So it makes sense that if what they feel inside is different than what they're expected to be, then they might feel uncomfortable, and they might want to talk about that discomfort. And we all know that kids are good at talking about how they feel. For example, mommy, I skinned my knee. Mommy, someone called me a name on the playground. Or even, mommy, I don't like wearing boy clothes. These are all similar feelings of discomfort that we can talk about to our parents. That's not to say that all kids will realize they're transgender when they're little. A lot don't. I didn't until I was 27, but I can't tell you how many people I've met that knew they were trans at 4 or 5 years old. So if there's a kid in your life who's telling you they're trans, please believe them. They know what they're talking about, and your support might save their life.
Yeah, sorry, but this is insane. In no other area would we be expected to just believe what a 4-year-old says and take it as gospel. Anyone who's worked or been around young children or has young children knows that they often say stuff that isn't true, and they have wild imaginations. And they do not, in fact, have a fully developed sense of self-identity by age 4. It is impossible for a 4-year-old to know conclusively that they are transgender. They don't even understand concepts like gender or sex fully at such a young age. Now, it is absolutely true that some people who grow up to be transgender can think back and remember experiencing gender dysphoria, an intense discomfort with their biological sex, way back from when they were very young. I've had Blair White on this podcast, a transgender YouTuber, and she says she can remember feeling like a girl as young as 5 years old. But she definitely didn't have it all figured out at that young age and didn't for many more years. The same way that as a gay person, I can remember back to being 5 or 6 and having crushes on boys at soccer camp. But I didn't really come to grips or fully understand my sexuality until I was closer to 20 than 4. And this does not mean, which this activist is surely implying, that children, young children, and minors can consent to medically transitioning, which starts as young as 11 or 12 when puberty blockers are given. Because informed consent in medicine requires that people are able to understand the consequences, the risks and benefits of the medical treatment that they are getting. And I'm sorry, but an 11-year-old cannot understand what it means that they may be sexually infertile later in life. A minor simply can't weigh those risks, and also they might grow out of it. Many gender-confused youth, after going through puberty with their birth sex, end up resolving their gender dysphoria and no longer feeling that discomfort. Many come to realize that they are gender non-conforming in that they are gay or lesbian, and that's perfectly fine. But they no longer experience discomfort with their biological sex, and for them to have transitioned would have been a travesty. Yet if you put them on a lifelong path to medicalization starting as young as 11 or 12, that will never happen. That will never resolve. Of course, I absolutely do believe that anyone who reaches adulthood and still experiences diagnosed gender dysphoria should be legally free to transition however they want. But stop gaslighting us that 4-year-olds can understand transgenderism or that minors can consent to life-altering sex changes. We're not buying it. All right, up next, this trans TikToker is arguing that trans women should be allowed to use the women's bathroom. Let's hear what she had to say.
Aside from the fact that trans women are not a threat to other women in the bathroom, it is equally unsafe for both trans women and cisgender women alike to go in a men's restroom. See, men don't want me in the bathroom looking like this. They want me to go back to being a man, and they're going to take any opportunity they can to antagonize a trans woman in an attempt to convince her to be a man. So the second a trans woman sets foot in a men's bathroom, she is unsafe. The second any woman sets foot in a men's bathroom, she's not safe. The majority of women understand this. Out of the thousands of bathrooms I've been in, I've only had an issue 2 times. And despite what happened in both of those times, I would still never set foot in a men's restroom ever
So,
again.
some of my audience might disagree or be surprised by this, but I don't entirely disagree with this person. Firstly, I think whoever owns the bathroom should be able to set whatever rules they want for who goes in what bathroom. So, if it's a private business, they should be able to have trans people allowed to use the bathroom or have bathrooms where everyone has to go according to their birth sex. But if it was me doing it, and in public buildings, government buildings, I absolutely do think that bathrooms should be open to transgender adults who have actually transitioned and legally changed their gender. I do have sympathy for women who feel unsafe or uncomfortable with this concept, but I'm not sure that fear is really rooted in reality. It's not that violent incidents or assaults never happen in bathrooms. They do, although they are rare. It's that anyone who would commit an assault or an abuse in the women's room wouldn't be deterred by rules stating they're not allowed in that bathroom. So you would just be punishing all the law-abiding trans people who are no threat to women at all out there. I also think it creates other problems to have a fully transitioned transgender woman who passes as a woman forced legally to go to the men's room. Now that would be awkward and uncomfortable, and try explaining that to a kid. I do get that this is a complicated discussion, but I also feel like it's made into a much bigger issue than it needs to be. It's become a culture war flashpoint, trans bathrooms and bathroom bills and all this, but for a long time before any of this was talked about, trans people were out there and used the bathroom of their preferred identity for a long time, and in almost every incident, it happened without any, serious consequences and just went off without being noticed. So that's my take, but let me know what you think in the comments. If you think I'm wrong, if you want to disagree with me, let me know. I want to hear you out.